everybody, welcome back. I am so excited for you to get to meet my friend today, Alejandra. She wrote this incredible book, and let me tell you, I devoured it in minutes. So I first met Alejandra at this Entrepreneur Project, which is like a small mastermind group in Gilbert, Arizona that meets one time a year. And I'm just gonna show you. I literally took pages and pages and pages of notes. So I'm so excited for you to get to meet her today. But let me just give you a little backstory about how killer this woman is. So she's got 2 master's degrees, graduated top of her class, speaks 6 languages, and used to be a law professor at the University of Barcelona. All while doing this, she still had time for friends and family, found herself in a place where she was kind of burnt out, but created this time management system, and that's what we're gonna be going over today. So I am so thrilled to be introducing you to my friend, Alejandra. So let's dive straight in to your book because, oh my gosh, so good. In fact, I wanna start with how you open chapter 2 with, I think, a very powerful quote that really resonated with me. You said, "It's not the load that breaks you down. It's the way that you carry it." And when I read that, God, there was a time in my leadership of just a few years ago that really hit me because, I think as leaders in this space of whether you're an entrepreneur or a social entrepreneur, you often feel that you're spinning so many plates at any given moment. And it's the way that we carry that burden. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about this time methodology that you created?
Yeah, well, I'm super excited to be here to talk about it. And that quote also hit me a lot because you underestimate everything that you can do and actually start thinking, oh, I'm maybe juggling too many things, but it's not the load, as I say. It's just really how you're handling, how you're taking care of yourself, how you're prioritizing the right things. So when I started looking time in a different way and saying, hey, I'm a multi-passionate person and I actually want to enjoy that. I don't want to restrict myself from doing everything that I love. That's when I started developing this method. It's my time protocol, and it stands for tracking, impact, motivation, and evolution. And for me, this is the blueprint that I teach everyone, and the one that I truly believe will allow you to stop looking at time as your enemy, something you're lacking, something you're struggling with, to really start gaining that ownership and really feel like you own your time, because that's how I want people to feel empowered and feeling like your time is your best ally and that you actually are enjoying it. And it goes beyond managing it. For me, it's not time management. It's really owning it. It's making it work in your favor and just doing everything that you want. So that's how I develop this time method.
So T-I-M-E. T is for tracking, I is for impact, M is for motivation, and E is for evolution. So start us off with the tracking, because for me, this was, I think, a real aha moment when you talk about tracking. So tell us about that.
So I started with tracking because everything for me has to do with the awareness. Like everything that happens in your surroundings, everything that you're not aware of, you cannot change. So that's where the analysis, the tracking really come into place. And that's why it's the first pillar, it's the most important one. You need to really make sure that you know what's going on in your life. Here's the thing, everybody has 24 hours and not everybody uses the same. So what's going on with your time, how you're using it, where you're wasting it. And the most important part for me in the tracking has to do with distractions, how much time you're spending on distractions, how much time you're procrastinating and why you're procrastinating. And then really make it in a way that you start putting boundaries around your time and start prioritizing the right things. So for me, that's the biggest part. It's that tracking that you need to start with it. You cannot go to point Z if you don't know where point A is. You cannot achieve your goals if you don't know where you're standing.
Yeah, so this is when you had said, this blew my mind, that be aware of distractions in your life, because 30% of your time is wasted. And I'm like, what in the world? If you employ anyone, you're like, well, when you hear that on average, people only focus for 3 hours out of an 8-hour day, it was like, what are you talking about? And I feel like I'm a pretty high capacity leader, feel pretty proud of how many plates I can juggle with the amount of energy. And when I heard that and you told us to start auditing and tracking our time, I realized how much time I was wasting. And this is what I thought was incredible. So 30% of time is wasted. An average out of a 24-hour day, that is 7.2 hours completely wasted. An average of 50.4 hours a week and 111 days a year. I mean, that makes me like so unfreaking believable. So this is how you kind of identify a distraction. So other people's needs, wants, and desires, responding to email, Slack, social media, which is a huge time suck for everybody. TV, cleaning, texts, calls, a wandering mind. What's the temperature in the room? So anything that takes your eye or attention off of what you're supposed to be focusing on is a distraction. And that's how you come to 30% of the time is wasted on those little things. How does somebody really audit their calendar to say, how much time am I actually wasting? What do you tell people?
There are so many ways that you can start tracking your time, especially thanks to technology right now. I feel like everything is measurable. And especially, well, yeah, all the time that you're spending on your phone, on your computer, you have many trackers. So one of my favorite ones is really audit your phone, go to the settings, and depending on what, which iPhone or phone you have, it can be under the screen time or under digital well-being. And in here, you can start seeing how much time you're spending on each app and the full average on how much time you're spending on your phone. So normally when I share this with my clients, with people, they're like, oh, maybe I'm wasting 1 or 2 hours on my phone. Like I'm not glued to my phone. Then they start seeing that they're spending 6, 10 hours on the phone. And you say, we have 24 hours. How am I spending 6 hours alone on my phone? And this is people who don't even work on their phone. So it's really start seeing that the compound effect is what really is killing your time. When it comes to your phone, I really encourage everyone to be very intentional, go to those settings, establish the boundaries, the limits, say, no, I just want to spend 1 hour on this app. I just want to spend 30 minutes on this other. And you will start seeing how you reduce these distractions because it's huge. Like it's seriously a game changer. And I know you've seen it, but it's incredible the time that you can gain back only with reducing the distractions. And then when it comes to the computer, the time that you're actually working, you can have different tools. So for example, if you're using ClickUp, Asana, or any other project management tool, they normally have a timer. So you say, for example, I want to start working on this specific project. You set up the timer. And then when you finish, you click finish. And that way you can start tracking, oh, it took me 1 hour to create the content. No, it took me 2 hours to make this proposal. No, I waste 3 hours because I was just looking on the internet for more information, and you have this analysis paralysis. So there are many, many ways to look at it. One of my favorite ones, to be honest, is looking at my calendar like my #1 tool. So I have everything on my Google Calendar. And in here, I see the personal time, the work time, and I start time blocking. So I actually know how much time I'm spending on the different roles that I have in my life. Mm-hmm. So the house chores or the time with my family, personal time that's just for me. And that's how you really start tracking everything that's going on. And obviously, one of the most important things that has to do with the tracking is revising. It's not enough for you to just say, okay, I will start doing all these things without going back and seeing how you're improving and seeing what things might be changed, because the revision is what will really give you the power to see where you need to take an action.
The I stands for impact. What does that mean?
When you think about time and you've been conditioned your whole life to think like, you don't have enough time, I'm always rushing, I need more time to do this, or I cannot do it. this is a limiting belief that you have. So you really need to start working on your mindset. And this is one of the things that I work on. That impact is one of the biggest things that will create the impact in your life. But also, people struggle a lot with implementing new habits or finding the time to have a morning routine or a night routine. So these are also two of the things that I share inside the impact pillar, and how to have habits that actually serves you, that are long lasting, that it's not a quick fix and you forget about it. I want this to be for you for the long run. Like, I really want you to develop a relationship with your time where you feel amazing for your whole life. Most of people that think about routines, thinks about time management habits, they think I need to wake up at 5 a.m. if I want to be productive, and I hate it. And they start being very miserable because they're not enjoying habits or that routine. So it's how to craft the perfect routine for you to feel like, I'm ready to go. This has been amazing. Even if it was 5 minutes, you feel completely refreshed and then you're up for the day. So those are the kind of things that I truly believe will create an impact, something that you enjoy and that's sustainable, and not something radical you will hate.
Yeah, I love that when you talk about this impact. So when I was at the Entrepreneur Project and you spoke, I wrote creating long lasting changes and reframing your mindset. And I love how in time management, you talk about having this abundant mindset as you look at your time. And I think already most entrepreneurs in this space look at their time as so limited. It's like a scarcity mindset. I've got so much to do, so little time to do it. So I like the idea of just reframing, like that it's such a gift, this time that we have. And so how do we maximize it? And so I love that. Okay, so then we have M, which is motivation, how you become unstoppable.
Motivation is also one of those pillars that most people tend to feel. It's like, oh yeah, I should be motivated every single day and feel super happy about what I'm doing, feel this passion. And also, when they feel like they're not motivated enough, they feel guilty, they don't want to do the thing. So it's very hard for them to keep committed to the long-term run. So for me, the motivation, the thing that I really wanted to start teaching more people and help them with, is we've been conditioned to think that motivation is something that comes from the outside. You're either pulled by rewards or punishment, and you're always thinking about the end goal, or when I have this, I'll do this, or when I feel that, I will do this. And it's always based on, if I work hard, I'll get promoted. If I work harder, I'll make more money. If I don't work hard enough, I won't get clients. And then you punish yourself and, no, I don't deserve to have personal time because I didn't work enough. So it has always been this punishment and reward thing. And I really don't want people to look at it that way, especially because our time is our most precious resource. And it's the thing that's actually going to allow you to keep moving forward. It's the only thing that we actually have in life, is the limited time that we have in here. But I like to frame it and to see it in a way that that motivation should come from yourself. That internal motivation, why you're actually doing what you're doing, why you want to achieve that goal. It's actually your goal, or it's someone else's goal that you feel tempted to pursue because someone said it was the thing for you. How to tap into what really moves you. And I share this in the book, and I see it in, it's not something that pushes you, but pulls you. If the vision is strong enough, you won't feel pushed. It's pulling you, it's attracting you, it's flowing, it's something beautiful. So in here, it's really tapping into that internal why you truly want to achieve something, why you truly want to have a better relationship with your time. And if you ask me, most of the things I do, the main root, my main why, it's my family and the freedom and the ability for me to really support them, be there for them, and not putting other things as an excuse. Like, I hate saying at the time, or I'm too busy for you. Like, that's not in my language anymore. That's the other thing that I see, is people stop feeling motivated, they stop feeling passionate, they start hitting burnout. So tapping more into this internal motivation, it's where you really find this unlimited source of power. And that's why I say that you become unstoppable, that there's nothing that can stop you once you discover what really moves you.
I love that so much. And then the last one is evolution, the progress, the power, the adjustment, and the reflection. So talk to us about the last one of evolution.
Evolution was for me that thing that will bring everything full circle. So how to make this long lasting is obviously by having into consideration that we are human beings and we change, we evolve, we grow. So how to look at progress, something that yes, you might need to get out of your comfort zone to be able to achieve something, and also seeing the power in change. So if right now you are completely in love with your calendar and tomorrow something happens in your life that completely changed, you become a mother, you change your job, you just want to have more vacation, whatever it is. Now you look at your calendar and you know something needs to change. So I give people the tools to really make these adjustments in a way that still feels good for them, and that it's, again, every time they change, they can tweak it. Every time you see something is progressing or growing in your life, you have the tools and the resources for you to keep moving along, because we are never ever stop growing until we die. But while we are here, it's that constant progress that we are making. So how to make this, as I say, for the long run, and just keep evolving and changing everything according to what's your main priority right now and what are your needs.
What I did was immediately take my calendar, did the time where I tracked, impact mode, I did all of that. And then I started to time block. And one of the things that you said that was really profound to me is like, when you get an email, it's basically somebody else needing something, right? And so for me, I know we live in a world where it's like, how fast can you respond to an email or a Slack or a DM? So what I started to do was I took my calendar and I said, I'm going to answer emails from 8 in the morning until 10. I'll be in my email, sending emails, receiving emails for basically like a 2-hour block. Then I took my kind of job role, my responsibilities and the expectations that are on my job, and I looked at it and I started to say, okay, 75% of my time has to be spent in fundraising and stewardship and development. So then I time blocked 75% of my calendar out, what days and times I was going to be doing that. And then I blocked in there another block of time for, meetings with my direct reports. And I basically blocked my entire calendar out, and then created some self-development time. So every Friday for 2 hours, I do self-development time in the morning, so I literally blocked it out. But here's the biggest takeaway that I got, was that we should never, because I tell you, Alejandra, I could sit in front of my computer for 12 hours and just be working away. And you really challenged that thought, where you said you have to get up and move. So before I start any meeting, I've got my coffee, I've got my water, I've gone to the bathroom, I have my phone turned off, upside down, I have my notifications turned off so I don't have the dings and the emails and all of that going. But you really challenged us that at a 90-minute marker or a 60-minute marker or 30-minute, you need to pause and get up and walk. But do not check your phone and do not check your email, because then what will happen is you'll kind of get sidetracked. So you really challenged us to take that 30, 45 minute, whatever feels right to you. I started with a 25-minute block and I was like, that's not enough time, because we're in this creative flow and then our timer goes off. So we kind of did this sweet spot of like 45 minutes where we would go hard in meetings for 45 minutes. And then I'd make everybody get up, drink their water, go to the bathroom. Nobody check their phones, come back in our meeting. And then we'd take a longer break after lunch where we actually would go for a walk and then come back. And I'm telling you, the amount of productivity that started shooting out of our little office was insane. Okay, so first I need to kind of track and audit my calendar. And then I need to figure out what's the impact. And I kind of took the impact pieces like, if I'm going to spend 75% of my time in fundraising, what kind of impact do I want to have from that time? Like, so I created goals from that time because I already know what my North Star is. I already know what the vision of my life is. And so, how is that moving me closer to that? And then you've got the motivation and the evolution with the reflection. And I think the reflection piece is just a great thing to do at the end of every week. What were my wins? Where did I have some losses? And I even went one step further, and I have my little grateful folder here. But at the end of the week, I literally started writing down all of my wins just to have that mindfulness of gratitude of like, but what did I accomplish? Because if you're not actually tracking it, you actually don't know how far you've moved the needle forward. So, how do you start working with entrepreneurs to do like that next step?
I mean, everything that you've changed, it's incredible. I really love seeing how you're implementing everything. First of all, for anyone watching this or listening to this, those minutes that you actually take a break will increase your productivity a lot, just because our brains are not designed to just focus for such a long period of time. Normally, we have a focus that's 90 minutes to 2 hours top, because then you start feeling this brain fatigue and you start just rumbling in your head. So having these small breaks, this 5 minutes, 10 minutes break without watching the phone, as you mentioned, it's very, very important. And just refresh, recharge, drink some water, oxygenate, move the body. That's when you actually allow your brain to go back to full energy. And now you're more creative and you're more willing to keep doing the things. Because how many times you spend 5 hours straight, sit down on your desk, trying to find that perfect word or that perfect puzzle and trying to do the thing, and you are glued to that desk without knowing nothing to put in there, like completely blank, empty mind. And then you go for a walk for 15 minutes and you're like, holy, what if I do this? What if I do that? And you start bringing that imagination, that creativity. That is what it will allow you to keep moving forward. So that's very, very important. And also, since we are working on our desk too much time seated, it's very important for us to bring our body to movement so that we keep being healthy. Otherwise, it's completely ruined. That's why we have so many people with backaches and headaches, too much time glued to the computer. So that's one of the things I really just wanted to make some emphasis on that point. And the other thing that you were mentioning on this reflection side of the week, Fridays for me are revision and reflection. It's really how to put everything together and saying, did I miss something? Let me just take advantage of Friday and start doing it. And saying, okay, now what do I need to focus on for the next week? Always planning that week ahead will allow you to have amazing, and it's not just amazing, but such a powerful clarity when you start your next week, that you will see how your productivity increase, your energy increase, and you will feel way more motivated for the following week. That reflection time and what you're doing with the gratitude is one of the best practices that I also recommend, because as you mentioned, we tend to forget everything that we accomplish just because we're blind because of how many things we want to accomplish. So every time you keep your eyes on the prize and that big goal, you forget all the incredible things you've done. So really being accountable of that, acknowledge it, and just start writing it out, then revise it, because that's a beautiful part of it. When you revise it and say, wow, look at how many things I did. I'm so grateful for this. That's when you really start seeing how powerful you are. And it doesn't matter if it was one or two things that you achieve, you keep moving forward. And there's also a thing that I feel a lot of people struggle with is you tend to have an endless to-do list and you have 20 things to accomplish that day. And you might do 3 and you end up the day completely guilty because you didn't achieve the other one. But then looking at that impact, as you mentioned, maybe those 3 were the ones that were bringing you 80% of the impact. and the other ones were not such as important. So you feel guilty about nothing. So one of the things that I always say is try to set your top 3 priorities or top 3 rocks so that you really focus on what will move the needle forward to create that impact. How I like teaching it to entrepreneurs is how you can also leverage your energy inside the week. Because most of the times we feel forced to always be doing, go, and not realizing where you have your biggest peak of energy, where you have your biggest peak of creativity, or when you just need to have those 2 hours for answering emails. So in here, what I will say to anyone who's watching this is really be careful and protect your time in a way that these emails are not coming to you where you're having the most energy or where you really need to focus your attention on the biggest things. So that's why I love having just 3 little times where I'm checking the emails, and not first thing in the morning, because I want to start with fresh, clear energy. Then I revise the email just to check if there's anything that needs to be taken care of at that day. After lunch, when I'm more like, I feel like everybody after lunch, you feel that plunge. And that's when I also recommend a lot of people to start doing more admin work. It can be emails, it can be more numbers, stuff. Everything that doesn't require so much brain power or creativity, those are the perfect times to do it. Then getting to know when you have this biggest peak of energy. For example, if you have a meeting with a potential client or someone you really want to collaborate with National Angels, it's just making sure that you're showing up with your biggest energy. If you know you're drained by 8 p.m., don't put a meeting in there.
Right.
Like always taking into consideration how you're feeling, how you work. And if you need to do more creative work, okay, what are the times that you're the most creative? Some people is early in the morning, some people is late at night. So how you can start switching your schedule in a way that you start blocking the times in this different way, where you actually get to know yourself first. And again, here's where the evolution and the tweaking part is very important. Because maybe this week you try something, you're listening to this, you're watching this, and then you start planning your week. But then you feel like, oh, it can still be improved. Maybe I'm more creative in the morning, and then you tweak it and start seeing what really works best for you. So that will be one of my biggest tips.
Well, you've given us so many tools and resources, but I want to encourage anybody who wants to know more and do better. They can pick up your book, From Burned Out to Unstoppable. Love it. Another thing I wanted to say that I thought was just really interesting from my time with you, when we talk about distractions, you said it takes on average 25 minutes to get back into the creative flow because of the distractions. And so to be mindful about that. So the last piece of this that I think is really important too, that I think every entrepreneur should have, is an accountability coach or a leadership coach. And I know that you offer some coaching. Are you open to clients right now?
Yes,
You
I
are.
am. And actually, one of the things that I love about that study that you shared is the power it has for you to take a look at multitasking. A lot of people wear this badge thinking I'm a great multitasker, but then you think that every time you switch tasks, you're wasting 25 minutes. It's when you need that accountability and say, no, I need someone to really help me be very focused on one thing at a time, and just knowing that that's the way that I'll crush my goals. So yes, right now I'm taking clients, both one-on-ones, and I'm also working for a corporate. So doing speaking, workshops, and long-term programs with corporates. That's what I'm doing right now, and I'm open for 2023.
Okay, fabulous. Well, I will make sure to put all your information in the show notes. And I just feel really lucky that you gave us your incredible time. I'm sure you had this time blocked. And so did I. Well, I'm so thankful for you, and thank you for how you've transformed our business. I can't wait to hear how this has impacted others. And if it has, tag us on social media. Okay, thanks.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here, Susan. I really enjoyed it.
You're welcome. Okay, friend, bye-bye. Part of what I get asked all the time is, how do you do it all? And I'm like, I don't. But I think every entrepreneur struggles with which plate do I spin. And so I just want to encourage you to take the time to buy this book, to listen to her podcasts, to sign up for her private coaching, because literally a 2-hour session with her changed my entire organization, which sounds like a little dramatic, but I just felt like I was wasting so much of my time in the middle of a creative moment, answering an email, picking up my phone, answering a text message, that I was spending all day long reactive. And so I just want to encourage you that if you find yourself in this place where you're spinning multiple plates, that you would spend some time auditing, managing your calendar, because it can be a game changer.